Hello, I'm an executive committee member of PRCI, which is the Public Relations Council of India. And PRCI has launched a very humane, peaceful movement called Swabiman. Swabiman is a concept, is a tool, is a method that stands for several things. One of them is dignity for human beings and self-respect, that which is as a very essential part, as a very essential necessity of all human beings across borders, across cultures, across races. And I also speak contributing to this concern, which is Swabiman by PRCI. I will be speaking about this further in other videos too, but I thought I'll speak about one aspect of what Swabiman is bringing about and is also standing by. And there are several contributing members, and we are several people who are working together for communication for a better world, and that's a tag for PRCI too. And part of my work is also contributing towards communication for a better world. Yeah. So I will speak today from one of the things that I have been bringing about in facilitating a better world, and that is our senior citizens, parents, grandparents. We have across the world, we have several examples of how the elderly are parents who may or may not be working, yeah, and how they are, how different sectors of senior citizens, elderly, is being treated by several factions of the society. We even hear about elderly homes and several not so pleasant experiences. But I think just as how they have gone about through their lifetimes in having us stand on our feet and have our education, be able to support ourselves, I think it is equally important that as we have been supported to live our life in as much dignity and self-respect, they also need to have that as a basic necessity. Oftentimes, when in our society, it has been perceived that children should take care of their parents. Yes, but there may be a certain discernment required about to what extent and how. In their senior lives, yeah, some of them may be working, some of them may be on the verge of retirement, some of them retired. That in old age, after a certain age, they are said to be going through another stage of childhood. And what happens in that is, there is more of you take care of me. And what happens is, it goes to sometimes to an extent where it is going beyond what they can take care of themselves. But they're more like, I can take care of myself, but you are there, no? Now it is your turn, now you should take care of me. It's more a little like a child state. The point I'm arriving at is, with my parents, they are in their 60s, yeah? And what is interesting is, there's a certain thinking in the society that after a certain age, either you're retiring or retired, or around those ages, you're suddenly old people. Yeah, after it's maybe, I think from about their 50s or something, I've heard people started saying, we are old people. And conversely, we have heard of so many examples where people in their 80s, 90s, hundreds. I know of a person who in his 80s has won his black belt, yeah, in the martial arts. person in his hundreds doing marathons. We have several examples on YouTube. Just check on senior citizens and how amazingly we are living. We should be on, some of us, what we are not doing, they are doing. And they have gray hair, they have wrinkles, they are not old, they are young at heart. And they are proving it by breaking records. And here we have people talking about being old in their 50s, in their 60s, and wearing light color clothes, because that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be reading the religious books and going to going on pilgrimages. So these are some of the ethos that's there. These are some of the thinking that's there in mind. And people who are not of that thinking somehow thinks that they are being odd, that they are not doing according to what everybody else is doing, and so they play less. And I largely speak this in relationship with, well, I've noticed my parents do that because they're quite healthy enough, but then there is this thing in amongst people that this is how they're supposed to be, and hence, you tend to follow the group, sort of, so that you continue to belong. One of the ways by which I ensure that my parents continue to maintain a certain level of health by a certain level of dignity and self-respect maintained is by my refusing to comply to what I can discern that they can do. Every time you help somebody, there's so much of a thing on helping somebody versus supporting. There is not much of a discernment between what is help and what is support. A lot of people do not need help. What they need is support. And that is what I often exercise when I'm in my relationship with my parents. I often keep checking if they really need help or do they need support. And with a little support, will they be able to accomplish what they have to, maintaining their dignity and self-respect. And even if it seems like an illness, even if it seems like something that they, you need help from somebody else outside, when it seems like, they can support themselves, it is often healthier to not comply once you discern that it is not required. I've noticed that my parents are getting healthier every time I do not do something which I can discern that they can. Because then what it requires is, okay, there's no this support, so I need to do it myself. And in doing that, it's like you step up to the challenge. And in stepping up to the challenge, you bring forth not only resources from within yourself, but also you look around for resources from nearby where you can then, it's like Spider-Man, he has a certain ability, and then he shoots his web and takes support from surrounding, and then he makes the next movement. Yeah, every human being is like that. When there is always support being available, there is not that movement from within to step up, to step into, and there's so much of neuroplasticity that goes on. You have to be resourceful in being able to make something happen. And in doing that, even a child, if you notice a child, if you're going to always handhold for a child to walk, the child may always walk needing support. But if you occasionally allow for it to, then it will find its way to stand on its two-legged, maybe, shake around a little bit, maybe a little bit of a fall and all of that, but it will learn. Yeah. And it'll learn to support itself, and it steps forward, it grows. Similarly is the case with people of any age. If a person at 85 and at 100 can go on a marathon, can win a black belt, and somebody in their 50s and 60s are calling themselves old, what is missing? It may be a case of too much of support, wherein they have kind of somehow forgotten what it is like to step up to something, to face another challenge. From having lived so many years, they think, okay, now we've done. Now we are in our ripe ages. Now we are supposed to be taken care of. And that's when they become old. Versus stepping up and becoming somebody who can break another record, can set another example for all of us younger generations who certainly need inspiration, who certainly need examples to look up to and live up to and become hence. So I invite each of you who's watching this to think along the lines of what preserves dignity and self-respect, not only for you but also for people around us. And a lot of the case, it's with us. It is not being provided and made available to our senior citizens, and what would enable that is a sense of respect and honor for them having lived so many years and given us so much from having lived their lives and made so much available for us that we now enjoy. Remembering that and preserving the dignity and self-respect of it goes a long way, not only for them in maintaining the quality of life, but also for us in by seeing what they bring forth that inspires us to bring value and maintain and retain value. That enhances the quality of life, not only for us, but also for future generations who are likely to learn from us, who are learning from us and becoming who they can become, and seeing what is possible from them becoming something that right now they may not be able to see. I hope this gives sufficient food for thought, and I invite you to leave your comments, and let's keep the conversation going. Thank you for listening.